lose sight of something so important that literally you have to stop everything to find it and reclaim it. In this week's art business tip, I'm going to give you 2 must-dos to reclaim your me time as the soulpreneur and art entrepreneur so you just don't lose your shit. Okay? So stick around so you can reclaim your me time. Welcome, I'm Stephanie Weaver, I'm founder of the Positive Painters online creative community, and I cuss a little, sorry. But I'm coming to you with art business tips so that you can gain focus and action on your art business and your art. So let's get started. All right, let's get into this. As an artist professional, you are an entrepreneur. You wear every hat in your business, at least until you can give up those pieces that you don't particularly enjoy, which means you do many things that you don't enjoy, like networking, sales videos, editing the videos, writing email campaigns, social media, accounting, all those things. You know, all the business stuff that goes along with being a professional artist. But in addition to that, you may be also a parent. You may have a full or a part-time job, and you may be taking care of aging parents, and then all the in-between. And the, quote, me time almost always goes on the back burner. So let me tell you how I almost lost it, and it took me sitting alone in the backyard, in the cold, at the fire pit, staring at a fire until the embers burned just to figure out where I went wrong and how I course corrected. All right, so many of you guys don't actually know me, like personally, so I'm going to let you in on a secret. I am actually an introvert. And while I can do these things in videos and I have no trouble speaking in front of large groups, I do not gain energy from those things. In fact, I have about a 2-hour energy high following those events, and then I just won't speak for the rest of the day. There will be times where I will not speak for a week because I'm just done. I'm tired of talking. So what that means is that I need time to recharge. And if you're an introvert like me, you get it. You need that time to recharge too, right? So I can tell you that when I did art shows, I wouldn't speak after I got home because frankly, I was just done talking. And it actually shocked my father-in-law at one point when I was like, yeah, I'll just tell you guys tomorrow, I'm really done talking. And he was like, well, that's the first time I ever heard that. And so yeah, that's kind of let you in a little bit about me, I guess, and our family. But when I did these art shows, I used to compensate and I used to kind of get over this need to withdraw and recharge, and I would drink alcohol, that, you know, the social libation, but it never really ended to my benefit, which even further diminished my sense of self and diminished my energy on so many levels. And I know there are many artists out there who get where I'm coming from. Introverts love people. We love doing everything that we do and the people that are in our lives, but also, you have to have that me time to be a better version of ourselves. And if you don't get it, trust me, you're going to lose your shit. It manifests itself in anger, headaches, depression, and substance abuse. You have to have the me time. I've learned over the years this tipping point. The first step for me is rage, where I'm ready to snap anyone's head off who dares ask me to do anything more, like unknot a soccer shoe. Seriously, you're 12. Unknot it yourself type of thing. So then after the rage monster comes the self-bashing episode, because I just lost my shit over a stupid shoelace, and I began to recognize that I need help. And my personality also is I hate asking for help. And then followed that is the realization that I'm trying to do everything for everyone, which then just completely diminishes my energy stores to nothing. And that's what my world starts to feel like, is I am nothing. And that's when I stop. My mom, who hopefully is not actually listening to this because she doesn't like it when I cuss, by the way, and I'm like 40-something years old, but she even told me this past weekend she doesn't like it when I cuss. But anyway, my mom used to do this with us when we were kids. And she would call it when her strikes. She would go on strike. And she would stop doing laundry, stop doing dishes, stop cleaning, and just sit down and read her books, play on her sewing machine. She's big into crafts and things like that. And then my brother and I would just walk around on eggshells and start pitching in more, which is what she actually needed, but didn't quite express herself with the words, but instead with the actions. And I kind of do the same thing for a bit until it finally hits on me that this is what I need. And that's when I come up with chore lists for the kids. So does anybody feel me on this? Have you had this point too in your life? I would love to hear from you and what you do that triggers the identification that you have reached that tipping point. And that time alone by the fire pit, and it was only just an hour, that I sat and I really evaluated my headspace and what I needed to do to make it better. And here is what I figured out where I went wrong. That kind of led to the little explosion. I didn't take any me time. And the second issue, which was far bigger than the first one, that siphoned all my energy stores, is I let myself get guilted into giving up my time for others. That one was a hard one to come to the realization too. I did this to myself. But the beauty of recognizing that is I can correct this myself too and regain that me time. So here's tip number 1 to reclaim your me time. It sounds simple, but it's kind of not. The first thing to do is to claim it. Mark it on your calendar before you add anything else to it, and tell your family and decline any event that isn't required or necessary for life during that time. If your family kind of looks at you funny, just ask, what would you like to do this week that is just for you? Then they get it. And it starts a conversation, which I always find kind of interesting. My husband, he likes to putz around the yard and listen to podcasts, which that's his me time. That makes him happy. So, okay, more power to you, buddy. But for me, my me time is that morning and evening. In the morning, it's my time to ramp up for the day with exercise and about 10 to 15 minutes of meditation, followed by breakfast and getting ready for the day. I take about 2 hours. In the evenings, I read with a cup of tea, with a book, and I take about 15 minutes. That's 2.25 hours a day. That is mine, and all mine. I really don't think that's too much to ask. And if my family looks at it their way too, that gives them 2.25 hours of their time to themselves that I'm sure my kids would love to play video games during. So it works out for everyone. And maybe your time is getting your nails done, getting a massage, walking the dog, brushing the dog or cat, exercising, watching a cheesy rom-com, going to a drive-thru just for a chocolate milkshake or a sweet tea. Whatever it is that you need to recharge and collect your thoughts. That's what you need to do. In the book, The Artist's Way, the author refers to this me time as artist dates. An artist date is a way to devote time to your creative self. It should be done solo, and the time is just for you. Julia Cameron, the author of The Artist's Way, described them as assigned play. I love that. Assigned play. Mark it on your calendar, your assigned play. I love that. In her book, she recommends doing it at least once a week. And for me, I have to do it once a day. If I go more than 4 days without it, that's when the rage monster starts coming out. I can just tell you from experience. 4 days is my limit. So your number 1 tip is to assign your creative play. Take it and claim it. What's funny is you actually already do this when you take vacations and you look forward to them. I know many people who actually count down to the vacations, and when you claim your me time, you are simply taking a mini vacation to preserve your mental health. In the show notes, I've got a link to an article where it lists 101 artist dates. Just pick one and schedule it. You'll be surprised at how simple these things are, and you'll look forward to them, that me time, and reclaiming it. The second tip to reclaim your me time is to plan recovery time. So my weekends have been really consumed with soccer, if you guys haven't noticed. For the past 3 weekends, I've been trying to go to all the games because the kids and hubby really want me to. And so here's the problem, and I know this is going to sound awful, But this does two things for me. Number one, I know that Chatty Cathy, the overzealous, drama-loving soccer mom, is going to chat it up with me because, quote, I'm a good listener. Even though if they just pulled their head out of their butt for 5 seconds, they could see I'm just not engaged. But I get it. Their need to chat isn't about what I need, so I stand and listen. And two, everything that I need to get done is going to wait until I get home to do it, like the laundry, the dog and cat hair tumbleweeds, the groceries, and so the me time completely disappeared. You have to have recovery time to follow those days where you're, quote, being on, and if you don't, something is going to make you. So for example, we had 3 weekends of soccer. The first weekend, I was knocked out of commission from a migraine from the first soccer game chatter. I missed the afternoon game and 2 on Sunday. The following weekend, and let me remind you, I also felt guilty about that, about the headache. So that didn't help. Then the following weekend, I made it through 2 Saturday games and I made it on 1.5 on Sunday. The next weekend, I made it through all 4 games, but I had 0 time to do the things that I needed to get done that I usually got done on the weekends. And there was a birthday party that I had to plan for, and my house was a complete mess with dog and cat hair tumbleweeds. So dog and cat hair tumbleweeds, by the way, kind of getting on my nerves, that were collecting under the dining room table. But my energy was completely zapped, and I got another tension migraine and was completely useless again. So those migraines, headaches, those knots in your back or shoulders are your body's signals to stop. And if you don't listen, it will make you. So you have to plan your recovery time. It's like vacations. When we go on a vacation or a weekend at a family's house, we always plan a day of recovery time. And in between coming back from the vacation and going back to work, just to decompress and prepare for a return to the real world. Same thing applies here. After those extroverted requirement days, plan your recovery time, plan your me time. So just kind of wrap this up, and I can't remember where I heard this, but there's a quote that goes something like this. When you say yes to something, you are saying no to something else. The one thing in life that is finite is time. You have limited time. So you have to ask yourself with every decision, does this serve my purpose? Or am I doing this because I have to do this to make someone else happy? It sounds selfish, but that's kind of the point. Sometimes you have to be selfish or you will lose yourself. For more about how to plan your time, watch artist Julie McCullough and I talk about the me time in our planning video blog, Create Your Creative Time. And be sure to go to the show notes to discover the 101 artist date ideas so that you can claim your time and feed your creative soul. Next week, we're going to chat a bit about your why and why you need to know your why to properly market your artwork. Until next time, stay safe, happy and healthy, and happy